What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bleav in Hornets podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network, presented by Bet Online. My name is Sam. Muggsy is with me. Muggsy, how you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Cheers.
It's a wonderful day in Charlotte. I have a freshly shaven head.
Yes, you do.
Things are good.
Looks good.
How are things on your end?
It's great. This is the best time of the day. I mean, you get to wind down. I get to have me a glass of wine and get to chit chat with you, talk some great hoops. I mean, what more can I ask for?
Yeah, man. It's a fun time. It's a fun time. I appreciate it as always. It's really cool to have this time with you and to have this podcast for everyone out there listening. So in this podcast today, we have surprise. We have some more injuries to talk about, unfortunately. See, it's a running theme around here. And there's always some silver lining despite the bad news. With this injuries, we've seen the emergence of Jalen McDaniels, Miles Bridges, each of them having some really incredible moments during this tough time for the Hornets as far as the roster goes. So we're gonna get into all of that in this episode. As we're recording this, it's before the Lakers game, just for everyone's to set. So we'll see what happens with that with you guys. But at this point of the season, the Hornets are in 6th place. They're coming off, since we last recorded, 2 wins against the Thunder and the Bucks, and then a loss to the Hawks, a very close, tightly fought loss against the Hawks. So in that stretch is where we really felt the impact of Hayward, Malik, and then of course, the team got used to LaMelo's been out, but the loss of those guys at the same time, we got to see it in action against that Thunder team. Let's start there. We saw Jalen McDaniels enter the starting 5, along with Bridges, by the way. So Bridges, PJ, Jalen, Devontae, Terry 5 was very interesting. I was really interested to see that. I was really this is really cool. I like this. I like the creativity from Borrego. Before we get into the game itself, what do you think of that set of guys starting the game together?
Well, again, it's the next man up. That's the new phrase, next man up. And those guys, when their numbers got the opportunity to be called, they went in there and did their job and produced. And McDaniels, he's no stranger to it. He's been doing it and did it last year. Every time you get an opportunity, he really comes in and makes his moments. And you like to see that because you see the progress and you see the hunger in terms of development too with the organization. And guys got to understand, you got to be ready when your number is called. And I love the fact that, they haven't been called upon all season. And then when that moment came right at the right time against OKC, I mean, you saw what happened. I mean, the chemistry was there. The ball was moving. Everybody felt good about themselves. And they was taking advantage of each and every opportunity that they had. And McDaniel was, one of the key moments of it.
He was taking big shots in none of his points were garbage time, so to speak.
No.
His buckets mattered. You see him big. He had 2 back-to-back threes. I think one was the game was tied, and then the second one helped build on the lead. He was super, super impressive. We saw flashes last season and this season, and you never know what to really expect when all of a sudden a guy's going to play 30 minutes in a game. And he really answered the call. He looked like he really belongs out there as a contributor. And so which makes me really excited about the idea of when everyone is back, when the team is fully healthy. And then you look at the bench, having Jalen as a guy who we've seen can contribute in a big way as an option off the bench towards later in the season when the team's fully healthy again, really makes me think maybe this team is deeper than we expected.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, guys just wait for that moment, wait for that opportunity and stay ready. And that's what a true professional is all about. And every time he has gotten that opportunity and got his moments out there, he's always shined. So that's why they feel good about his situation in terms of calling on him at any given moment when the guys do go down. But that's a tough call for the coach. When the healthy guys come back, how do you find minutes for guys who came and helped serve for you and really played well while the other guys were out? And hopefully that he can stay in that rotation because he has that versatility. He put pressure on the bigs, in that forward position, because he can stretch it and be able to put the ball on the floor as well as get to the basket. So I always like Jalen's game. So hopefully, he can continue to maintain that even when the guys do come back. But things are out of his control. So, I don't think he can control what he can control.
Yeah, so in the Thunder game, 21 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, 6 rebounds, shot the ball 65% from the floor, 50% from three, hitting 3 threes, like going 3 from 6 from distance. Like, I was like, give me more of that, man. I like that. I like that. Especially because, so this is a Hornets podcast. I'm a Hornets fan. I don't watch a lot of the Thunder, but I did enjoy watching Pokuševski, the rookie from the Thunder, who's the youngest player in the league. He's the most unique looking individual in the league, I would say, at 7 feet, 190 pounds. That guy is really fun to watch. He hit 7 threes. Like his jumper looks unblockable. What do you think of that guy? Of watching him play? Because he's a really unique character.
You hit it. I can't say it even no better than that. He's a very unique character in terms of out there on the floor, in terms of his structure, his body saying, and I'm the one to say that at 5'3", talking about it. But and you think about Boucher down in Toronto, slender, that type of shot that he has. But, this young man really has confidence in his ability. And, and of course, they believe in him. That's why they, I guess, giving them opportunities to get minutes to see what he's all about. So, I'm happy for him, and I hope he can continue, the progression that he's on.
Yeah, it's watching that is like man, who is this guy? Where'd he come from? And how can we get him on my team? That was my thought process. I really like watching him play. So if the Thunder, I don't know, the Thunder aren't going to be on national TV very much. Maybe I have to invest in League Pass to watch more Poku in action. It may be worth it. It may be worth it.
Yeah.
So after the Thunder game, the Hornets had the Bucks. Now, this was a very interesting situation because the Bucks had none of their starters available for this game. We're talking starting 5 of Jordan Nwora, Jeff Teague, Donis's older brother, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Giannis's older brother, sorry, Brian Forbes and Bobby Portis. A very different Bucks team. That's the 3rd place team in the Eastern Conference. So as a fan, I take that. When I saw the Bucks 5, I don't wish anyone to get hurt. They seem to be resting guys because I think they're coming off a back-to-back, and the Hornets caught them on a back-to-back, so they had to rest some guys. But it's the Hornets. You can only play who's in front of you. You can't control who's in front of you, and they took care of business. What'd you think of the Bucks' performance? It was Jalen's second start. He answered the call. He kept the momentum going from the Thunder game. It was the same starting 5: Devontae, Bridges, PJ, Terry, and Jalen, the small ball lineup against that Bucks team, and everyone got involved in the 5 as well. What'd you think of the Bucks' performance, or the performance against the Bucks?
Well, the Bucks' performance, and I really didn't care. I loved the way they played against us, and I hope they continue to do that going forward against us. Even though that ain't gonna be the 5 normally that's out on the floor. But the honest, you got to do what you got to do in terms of wins and losses. And when you have opportunity to get a win, you must get that win, home or on the road, especially on the road, because it's very difficult to win on the road. The guys continue to come out, and they understood the situation at hand, knowing that Milwaukee was hampered. They didn't have their full roster out there, but again, that's out of their control. The only thing they can control, what they can control. And the guys went out there and played some brilliant basketball. Like you said, the confidence was there. You saw I saw a little swagger going on, with some of the guys, how they were feeling good about the game, because that's how well they was playing. A lot of, highlights, a lot of excitement. Guys was really, again, wanting to show that coach, they deserve time, and much that they on the floor, and as you're out there producing, that's what you leave the coach, with, that type of performance, knowing that, hey, anytime my number's called, I'm ready for it.
And to that point, Cody Zeller, I didn't mention it against the Thunder game, but against the Thunder, he had a double-double off the bench. This game against the Bucks, a double-double off the bench. I really like it. We saw Bridges go on like a 4-game streak of double-doubles off the bench, like just guys who, like you mentioned, when it's time for their number to be called, they take the most advantage of it. And Borrego has to really be digging that, knowing that, all right, if I call on you, you're going to deliver out there to the best of your abilities. Like I'm really feeling this team.
Yeah, he seemed to be pulling the right strings and pushing the right buttons. Because even with the guys that are now, the Melos, the Haywood, and the Malik Monk, and here it is, we about to possibly lose PJ. So those guys are being down. I mean, you still have guys that's going out there performing and keeping us at even serve. Being able to stay. We dropped from 4th to 6th, but that's just a 1-game situation there, and anything can happen again going forward. But keeping the guys upbeat, keeping the team in the hunt with this last stretch going down the end. I'm pretty excited. I'm quite sure the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the injuries. So as we're recording, PJ, so it's Tuesday, April 13th. Earlier today, PJ was probable to play against the Lakers. He got downgraded from probable to out with a right ankle sprain. And then Terry is listed as doubtful to play with left knee tendonitis. Now, Rick from the Observer. Wow, why can't I say that? Observer
yeah.
said sometimes you have to slow it down, said that Terry's injury isn't considered serious, but the Hornets are playing 3 games in 4 nights. They play again Wednesday against the Cavs, so you got to rest Terry. We need Terry. Things are getting pretty light roster wise, so hopefully it's not a long-term thing, but managing Terry's minutes is really important as they make this last push, because there's that light at the end of the tunnel as far as, Hayward's going to be healthy again. Malik's going to be healthy again. Who knows about Melo? We'll see. He's going to be reevaluated in a few weeks. I'm not counting on him to be back this season, but this team's going to be fully healthy again. And you want to make sure, things don't get worse. It's not a regression. But I'm curious, Muggsy, about that 3 games in 4 nights. Like, how do you manage that this deep into the season as a player? Like, no one's 100% at this point. Everyone has something they're dealing with. What do you go through as far as from an individual player point of view, just kind of making sure you can keep things running?
Well, as a player standpoint, I mean, if you're healthy, you feel like you can play, that's what you do. You got that play, at least back in our era, that's what we did. But this is different times. And I got quite sure that the coaching staff going to observe the situation, very detailedly, and make sure that they're going to do what's best, not only for Terry, but what's best for the team. And with all the guys, I should say. Because again, at this time in the season, everybody got some sort of knick-knack, some type of injuries where they're not feeling good about themselves. But then you look at the situation in terms of the standings, where you are. Can we afford to lose some of those guys or manage these guys and not allow them to play and still be able to weather the storm, I should say, and put wins on the board? Because that's what it's going to take. Got to keep winning. Got to put the wins, because losses continue to put you behind that 8 ball, and you don't want to keep dropping, because it is a very narrow margin right now with that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th spot, even probably the 10th. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that the coaching staff understand what they are. I'm quite sure they understand where they're at and where the players are and how they're feeling and what they can do. And again, as we always say, the next man got to be ready to step up if that's the situation may take place.
Yeah, it's very slim, like you mentioned. It's 5 games separate the Hornets and the Bulls, 5 wins. So one bad stretch here or there can really flip the season on its head. So
yes,
I want to finish as far as the games that are behind us. I just want to mention the Hawks game as well. This is a game where we saw possibly, the Hornets lost. They played hard. No Trae Young for the Hawks in that game. This is the game where PJ picked up his injury. Jalen McDaniels picked up like a facial laceration during this game. I was like, could you please, I was like, please stop it. Whoever's like, he came back, everything is fine. But I was like, man,
right.
whoever's causing these injuries, like whatever karmic stuff, like give us a break, please.
Yeah.
But what'd you think of the Hawks game? And then obviously in this game, we saw the dunk that shook the world from Bridges over Capela.
Yeah, which everybody was talking about, that amazing dunk. But the Hawks game, I mean, they came out on fire. I mean, they was really shooting the lights out. I mean, the Hornets came out a little flat. I mean, they went up by 17 points, but I just loved the way the Hornets showed resilience and came back and got themselves back into the game, had the opportunity to really win the game. Was it Bogdanovich? He got hot. He pretty much really kept it going there. I think he wanted with the most points out of everybody with 30-some points. But that's what you got to do. You got to not allow those type of guys to have games like that, especially in your building. Capela had a good night, as well, as opposed to that unbelievable dunk that Miles put on him. And but other than that, I'm quite sure he'd be pleased because they got the win, and he had another double-double. But the guys, I love the way they fought. They didn't give up. They continue to, try to put themselves in the position where they could win. But that would have been a sweep if we would have got that win over the Hawks. But unfortunately, we didn't get that and wound up winning. Still winning the series 2-1.
Yeah, I wish I was in the building for that Bridges dunk.
Yeah,
man,
he cocked it back. Ooh, so I thought I was having. No, I was going to say I was having deja vu. No, I wasn't having deja vu.
Man, it was great to see. Great to see.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
All right, man. So the Lakers game is tonight. I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's a very weird Lakers setup. Look, they have their own injury issues on their side that they're dealing with. But beyond that, the Hornets have Lakers Tuesday, Cavs Wednesday, the Nets Friday, the Blazers Sunday. That's a lot. Those are some heavy hitters in a 4-game stretch. The Cavs are no slouch either. Hornets are victims of the Cavs this season, yes. So I'm not going to say anything negative about the Cavaliers. So what do you make of the stretch of games? What do you hope to see from the guys? I think if the initial timetables are correct, we'll be approaching the last stretch of Malik's injury. So a week from Sunday, he should be back in the mix. So they can kind of weather the storm a little bit, so to speak. And before the reinforcements start flowing in. But yeah, so
is that after the 4 games?
Yeah, it'll be after. So he's gonna be reevaluated, I think, in 2 weeks. So I think April 18th, so April 25th, we're looking at him being back. Right. So he looks like he may miss the Knicks game, Bulls game, the second Cavs game, and the Celtics game. And then after the point, Malik should be back. And then a few weeks later, Hayward should be back. So there's 8 games, let's say, that the Hornets have to kind of deal with. If hopefully PJ's back sooner than later, then we're not adding to the injured list. But what do you hope to see from this? I hope we can get out of it 500 just to kind of maintain until the guys come back. But maybe I'm being too pessimistic. I don't know.
No, I mean, that's what you're thinking, but that's the way you gotta, hope and believe that the guys can find a way to put some wins on the board. It's going to be challenging. We know it's going to be tough. The teams you just mentioned, they come there with a little chip on their shoulder as well because of their situation. Guys are not out. It's next man up for them as well. So, you got to be, hopefully the guys up for the challenge. I'm quite sure the coaching staff will have these guys prepared and have the game plan ready for them to try to execute. And let's hope we can, one game at a time per se, but we can find some wins in there because, the Lakers and, Brooklyn, Portland. It doesn't get any tougher than that. Besides you keep naming, other teams like Denver and so forth, but that's how you get it. I mean, that's what they're dealing with, and that's what they understand their situation in. So we all looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of Denver, best wishes to Jamal Murray, torn ACL. He was one of my favorite players to watch as a neutral, I guess, in the bubble last year. That 50-point playoff game he had against the Jazz was just incredible. And so that Nuggets team was a lot of fun to watch. And I'm sure they'll be all right. But they're going to miss Murray. And it sucks. That ACL injury is tough.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to miss him dearly. I mean, that's their score. That's the guy to create space. The Joker is the facilitator as well as doing other things, but that's the guy that creates space, and that's where, these guys really feed off of in terms of, especially when he's get going. He's going to be dearly missed. Guys got to step up to try to, cover that situation, and, but that's a lot of points to try to make up. So Denver took a big loss right there. Again, my prayers out to, Murray, because he is a great young man on and off the court. And you hate to see a player like that go down in time of this nature right now, especially during this time of season.
Yeah, and I guess to keep the injuries are going around. James Wiseman as well, torn meniscus.
Yes.
I think it's still a question about the severity of it, but it's never good for anyone to have a knee injury. It's just like when there's a 7-footer involved with the knee injury, like it's like, hope this isn't recurring, So best wishes to him as well, because I think he still has a very bright future ahead of him.
Oh, very bright future. I mean, people just didn't really understand this kid's potential. Well, I'm quite sure they did. That's one of the reasons why he wound up going second. Mm-hmm. But his potential, is very high, and of course, your Golden State boys understand that as well.
Oh yeah. All right, Muggsy, I think that's everything on our list this evening.
All right, that was a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone out there listening. You've been listening to the Bleav in Hornets podcast is the name of the show. The networks the Bleav Podcast Network is the name of the network. And
he got it,
it's presented by Bet Online. Those are the words I've been trying to say. You can put it together in your head. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean out there. It's been a long day.
Y'all know what it is.
I work a full shift and then I record a podcast. Come with some slack.
You got it on this end. Trust me.
Hey, Muggsy, I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much. We'll see y'all next week.
See you next week, buddy. It's always a pleasure doing it with you. Enjoy the rest of this day. It's a beautiful one on our side, so take advantage of it.